We're live, okay? Those are my brainwaves right there. Right over there is the chessboard. We're going to be playing some Lee chess tonight and doing some chatting. We're going to give some instruction, and plus we're going to get a lot of really good brainwave data. I'm going to maybe try to lose some games tonight because I've been on a pretty long winning streak, and to get the proper brainwave data, we need all types of stressful situations in chess, winning situations, losing situations, maintaining situations, because chess, it it's basically it encapsulates every emotion possibly in life, and very strong. So the the brainwave data we get here um, basically applies to anything in life. So without any more to do, let's just go over here, and I'm going to put my brain waves right up here so I can see them too. And you can see them right up there. Oh, in case you're wondering, this is the Muse. It's called the Muse Band, and you buy it. You can meditate, listen to some really good sounds of birds and things as you meditate, but you don't get the brain waves with the Muse band, even though you'll pay like $150 or something, or maybe it's more. I don't know. Especially if you get the carry case, which is $30, but I think it's worth it. I really love the carry case. Um, but if you want to see the brain waves, you can get those with the Mind Monitor. If you look at up at the top of the brain waves there, you see the little symbol, Mind Monitor. Works very good. It's user friendly. It'll cost you another $16, $16. It's well worth it if you splurge and buy the band. Get your Mind Monitor. As far as I know, it's the only product out there that does that. It was designed by a guy named James Clatterback, who actually helped me over internet to get mine set up and everything. You'll probably be able to do it without any help because, well, I'm a member of the silent generation, which is this generation that put people on the moon. We're very smart, but well, it's with things like internet and connectivity and things like oh T TP/IP over HTTP, those kinds of things. We were not really exactly born into that. We were born quite a bit before that, so it takes us a while. Um, but anyway, it's a nice setup, and this is the only channel on the internet that you're going to find somebody playing chess and broadcasting brainwaves for you to see in real time. And that's a good thing for me because it attracts a lot of viewers. I've got 60 right now, but it's a bad thing because nobody jumps in on the chat. Because what happens is my viewers tend to plan for the sessions. They go out and they buy some munchies. They sit on their couch and they just zone out. They just sit there like mesmerized by the brainwaves, watching me play, watching me talk, and watching the waves going up and down. And they completely forget to jump in on the chat. But if you're watching this and you're not munching out and zoning out, just jump in on the chat because it's a lot of fun, and maybe we get some instruction and everything. So without any more to do, I'm going to go over here to Lichess, get a new opponent, and see if we can lose a game to get some data. If we win a game by some stroke of luck, that'll be good too because it's always fun to win. So I'm going to play a King's Gambit here. I know that it's not really a King's Gambit when he's doing these weird things, but I just did that because he likes me to. I'm sure that he's got everything all planned out over there, and I'm going to play a game that is a little bit different than what he expects. He really would like me to just do the trade-off on that bishop. I'm going to basically do whatever I can and maintain this pawn right here, protected by the queen and this, and I'm going to castle over here and let his bishop sit over there for a while. I could take that. Then his bishop sits here biting against those pawns. So this looks okay for me. Um, I might now. Okay, let me see what I got to do now. I'm coming up there. To put one more protector on this, and if he takes that, it's actually opens up this file for me here, and I might get something out of that. Like this, for example. This looks good. I kind of like win a rook with this, I think. You see, I kind of like skewered his rook over there in the corner. A lot of these people, they have these weird openings and they kind of rely on those and they think, well, if I do this weird opening, I'll really discombobulate my opponent. And instead, I just kind of did something by intuition that I thought that he was probably not going to key into so fast. Now, that bishop over there is still screwing up my plans over here. But I'll get one more attack on his queen. Should I take the... I'll take that rook because the rook is kind of like threatening my bishop over here. I could have taken the knight, but then I got two bishops lined up down here, and I figure, well, the rook is probably the better target. And I'm going to come back already kind of like safe. I'm a little bit ahead here in terms of pieces, material, as they say, which is good. I can take him, get one more material advantage. If he takes my rook, I would get a checkmate there, but he didn't take my rook. He's saved himself the checkmate. Queen looks like it comes back here to protect this pawn, I guess. I'll slide this rook over to protect that rook and also maybe trade both the rooks right now to avoid any more complications. Two rooks for a queen is a good deal, especially when I'm a queen ahead, just to make sure that he doesn't have any weird stuff he can pull against me. So take the pawn. I think that's going to be good, and I think that's checkmate right there. So that was ooh, look at the brainwaves when I won. Look at that. Did you see how they spread out and now they went synchronized and then on an upward trend? That's a pattern. Um, it's always nice to see some really interesting, consistent, coherent brainwave patterns. You see them right there: delta red, theta purple, alpha blue, beta green, gamma orange. And usually when I win or I'm doing something really great, the beta green is going to go way up on top. I don't know if that's idiosyncratic with just me, but it's just something I usually notice. So let's do the post-mortem on that, shall we? Still nobody's jumping in on the chat. I still got the 60 viewers and nobody jumping in on the chat, so nobody's there. And why don't we just do the post-mortem, because just wait for somebody to jump in on the chat, then we'll play another game. So on Lead Chess, not all my viewers play on Lead Chess. A lot of you guys play on Chess.com or other sites. On Lead Chess, you just after you play a game, you just scroll down here at the bottom. It says request a computer analysis, and it's pretty user friendly. You just click there and you get this graph, and the graph shows you like who's winning, and so white was winning like all through here. And it looks like I made a mistake. I didn't go like really behind, but I was ahead and then I lost my advantage. So see, that was blunder. I got when I put the little scroll, the little cursor hand over here, point to blunder. Then you see the red dot. That was a blunder. And I also made a mistake right in the very opening. And after that opening, we were where I was still positive, by the way. Then after that, I didn't have any mistakes for the rest of the game. My opponent made his blunders at those two red dots. You see them over here. When I put if you look over on the graph now, you see the two red dots. So both players played pretty well. I mean, that's not bad. Couple of blunders in a chess game. That's not too bad. I've seen games where people make like 12, 14 blunders. And let's click through this then and see how we did this. Um, I'll try to put this up here just a little bit. Um, well, I can scroll back up and down because it's hard to see how the game is. So that gave me an advantage. That was like supposedly a kind of a bad move for black, but this early in the game, it's hard to know. And then I scroll down, you see now it's like 0, 0 right there. Well, actually, it looks like negative -0.4 that he's ahead a little bit, supposedly, theoretically. And that gave me like a really good advantage. And according to this, my mistake was I didn't take that. I can see glimmers. Okay, if I click here, that shows the next move. And when you do that, it's kind of weird. I don't know why Lichess has been glitching like this recently, but it doesn't show it constantly. But every once in a while, you see an arrow saying "take it, take it." But see, he's got this all planned out, and that he's going to play fast, and he knows exactly what to do. So I figure, well, why take it? So a double question mark, but that was my strategy to not to play his favorite line against him. And it kind of worked out because in the end, by keeping that bishop just sitting over there, I was able to, hey, first time chat, can you please use his support, a creator code? I don't know how to do that. Support a creator code. I really wish I could help you. If so, his code is, it's Bloomja. Can you please use his support, a creator code? I would, but I have no idea what a creator code is, so sorry. Oh well. Stick around though. We're going to get some cool brainwave activity here. Let me see if my brainwaves are still going. Yes, they are. And okay, we'll continue with the post-mortem. And clicking here, I castled. My opponent moved up, and I took there. And at this point, where are we on the graph? We're right there. The next move, we really went up and then stayed up really high. He moved his queen out, and then you remember I skewered his queen against his rook. And from there, it was just a matter of maintaining. And it's not that you can take it for granted. I've seen so many of my opponents lose games, and I lose games myself where, oh, I won a piece right there. I'm 8 points ahead. Now I won the game. You didn't win the game yet. Black could have like a lot of resources. So it was kind of strategic where I developed another piece and then, put his queen into check. I don't know if everybody maybe didn't understand that, but he moved his queen here, which was not a very good move because it allows me to move my bishop absolutely anywhere I want and threaten his queen at the same time. So I can take the knight, I can threaten the rook, can do whatever I want to, and he still needs to move his queen. So I decided to take the rook and then move my bishop out. And then after that, it was just basically winning some more. You see, so maybe people don't quite see what happened there, but I'm threatening a checkmate over here. He moved his knight up here to defend, so I can't take it. But what's to prevent me by taking the knight with my rook? That's not a horrible trade. Even so, a rook is worth a little bit more than a knight, but it breaks up his pawn position, and he really cannot take the rook with the pawn, because if he does, the queen comes down here, checkmate, supported by the bishop. So I just got like another free piece there. Now it was just a matter of maintaining. He attacked this rook, and instead of retreating the rook, I defended the rook, and then I decided to trade 2 rooks for a queen so that I would have an excellent material advantage. If he had traded the rook and then I come down here and he takes the rook, then I've got queen and bishop against a bishop, and it would be an easy game. But he didn't do that. He allowed me to checkmate him. So that was fun. That was that, and you see, even when I'm explaining things and I feel like I'm explaining them correctly, I also get my brainwaves going up pretty high. So the brainwaves are always telling us about what's going on inside of us. Um, I've noticed too, you can't lie when your brainwaves are being broadcast. I think it would be great if we just got all our politicians in the not just in the United States, but all around the world. Um, Politicians should have to wear by law the Muse band and use the Mind Monitor thing. They could have, in real time, they could have like a little display here or whatever. And as soon as they open their mouth, if they started to say, like they normally do, it would show right there on the, it would show, you'd know that they were lying, and that would keep them honest. I don't understand. We have all this technology. Why don't we apply it for democratic purposes? Instead, it seems like they're using the technology to generate all kinds of troll activity, all kinds of false information, all kinds of AI now misinforming people, and we're using the advanced technology to make democracy less stable when we could be making democracy more stable. We have the ability. The problem is that it's the politicians who pass the laws, and politicians are not going to want to know. They're not going to be able to broadcast their brainwaves like I do, because they like to lie. Both sides like to lie. So, but I do it, because I'm basically not a politician. So let's go ahead and play one more. That was fun. Hopefully, I can maybe lose at least one game tonight, and if I do, we'll get some really good brainwave data on that. And we're going to play another 5-minute game, and we're white again. And we're playing what? Is this the same player? This is so weird. I should have taken that according to, but I'm going to do the same thing. I don't know how I got the same person here, because nobody does that. It's got to be the same person. That looks like a good safe move. If he retakes with the queen, I just come out here and threaten his queen. And he can do that if he wants, but what can I do? I think my best thing to do is just take there, move there, and don't screw up my own pawn structure. Okay, I'm going to get ready to castle now. Already castle. Before I castled, I make sure he didn't have any weird things to do on this diagonal. Now the knight's going to come up into here, so it's probably better to bring this back. That it's a very dangerous check up here with the knight coming into this black square. And in this case, if I move the king back, he can bring his knight in, but I can take here. That doesn't look too bad. It's probably my best. I'm going to do that. don't want to waste a lot of time on the clock. I know he's going to come up here and fork me, and I'll just take him. He'll get his queen in here, and this queen is not going to go anywhere real quick, I don't think. Um, he wants to get this pawn, but I'll move up there, and I still got his bishop over there stymied. And now if I had a really good move, I would have an excellent game. I think the strongest thing is this. Then he'll have to move the pawn up. And then I can come over here. And if he's not careful, I'll come up here forking the two pawns. And, well, that'll threaten his bishop and this pawn at the same time. If I take his bishop, I double these two pawns. Well, I'll do more than that. If I take his bishop, well, no, I just win a pawn, no problem. And I'll take his ridiculous bishop. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not ridiculous. It's not a ridiculous bishop by any means. I don't think this bishop is going to do me much good behind this bishop in this pawn. So, I mean this rook. I'm going to move him out over here. It's hard for him to develop his knight, but he did. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that wonderful bishop. This guy loves that white square bishop to do dastardly tricks with it, and maybe it's a little bit demoralizing to take him out like that. Okay, he was going to take this pawn, so I moved the pawn up. And now I want to double these rooks, but I have to do this first. I can't take a lot of time here. I'm going to double the rooks by moving a rook up to double it at the same time that I protect the pawn. And now I got the rooks doubled there, so they're pretty much dominant on that file. It's hard for him to move a rook over there. Now, I'm going to kick the knight out. If those of you who have been watching my videos, you know I love to kick things out. And I'm going to do that. If he takes him, I get his knight. If he does that, what do I do? Threaten him here, I guess, with the bishop. Force him to take me, and then I put him in check and have a pretty well posted thing. Okay, now it's just a matter of doing something smart to win this. Maybe take a pawn, because I'm not just thinking about taking one pawn. I want to take this pawn and also threaten this one. I'm not too worried about this pawn. I mean, it's not the greatest thing to just win that pawn. I'm going to bring this back here. Uh-huh. He's playing very well. I got to bring my king toward the center. Okay, I got to move here so to keep his knight from encroaching too far. I just got to keep look. I'm a little bit down on the clock here. It's like my main thing I got to really watch out for right now. Okay, so could I kick his knight out? No. I'll just come over here. Maybe get my king up a little bit closer. Okay, now the king can come over here if it needs to. But that would open me up to a terrible pin. I'm going to keep these pawns from advancing. I got a minute and 18. If I play this correctly, I'll win. I could easily lose this game though, just by the clock if I'm not careful. I got to be very, very careful here. Okay, maybe it's time to already just start moving a pawn down to try to get a queen, get the pawn closer to making a queen. See, now he's going to take this pawn. He leaves me very little choice right there. No. My rook was not doing anything over here. He's going to take this pawn, by the way, but there wasn't anything I could do. But I can get this pawn and gotta play fast here. I gotta get something to counteract that pawn at some point. So I just come over here. Now I can get the king over. And I move the king next to the knight like that because he won't be able to. I can actually get a checkmate here if I bring the rook up here. And it's hard for him to escape it. 28 seconds to a minute and 46. My brainwaves are just like so synced right now. Okay, so take the rook. Start taking over here. Should not have even taken that. I should have just moved my pawn up. Okay, I got to get the queen. I got checkmate in one now if he's not careful. I don't see what he can do to prevent it either. I'm going to move the queen over here in the corner. 19 seconds to play. That's checkmate. Okay, so look at, I mean, it's just so amazing to see these brainwave patterns. Well, that's not a pattern right there. I think the mind monitor, mm, the mind monitor every once in a while it pauses for something. I don't know if it's resetting internally, but it will do that every once in a while. You will get some false, I call them, there's a name for that, flatlining. And you should know it does that sometimes because I can easily imagine somebody buying a Muse headband and a mind monitor, and then you're playing chess or something, and you're maybe looking at your brainwaves in real time, and suddenly they flatline, and it's almost like if you ever felt your heart stop, and you're thinking, "Well, my heart stopped. When's it going to start again?" In the same way, if you're flatlining in your brain and you think you are, I mean, that could cause you a lot of stress, but it does that a lot, I've noticed. So yeah, just did it again. So let's do the postmortem on this, shall we? Analysis board, and nobody jumped in on the chat for some reason. We had a little chat there in the last game. Somebody wanted me to. Could you please use his support a creator code? I have no idea what they meant by that. I wish I could help. I always try to help people out as much as I can, but oh, look at this. We made a really big mistake right there. Abysmal mistake, but only for one move and they didn't catch it. And then we were back up. 6 blunders, 7 blunders. When you have so many blunders like that, it's probably not even worth it to do the postmortem because it's not an exemplary game. Let's put it that way. So I'll go over and play one more. Hopefully, I'll get this time no mistakes. That would be great if we got a game with no mistakes, and then we'll do a very careful postmortem on it. That'll be fun. So let's see what we get here. Okay, we're playing black. What do we do now? What kind of opening is that? I don't know. I don't even know what to do against that. That is just so strange. But people don't do that very much. But we'll figure something out here, I think. We'll just try, having a little problem with my mouse here. We'll just try applying basic opening principles. And right now we're looks like everything's good. I'm going to bring the bishop here to protect this pawn because I think at some point the bishop might be able to, because you see these pawns can advance, at least right now they can. Maybe I should already advance them, but no, I'm not going to do something weird like that. If they advance, they advance. If they don't, they don't. But I can advance this one, then he'd bring this one up though. Maybe it's better just to develop another piece and let him advance or something. I'm going to get my queen off the back row and maybe attack that knight one more time. It might be worth something to do that. Okay, this might work for something because I can win a pawn here. The knight. It, oh, and I got that pawn advance like I said I wanted. I think I'll do that. Now I got this bishop opened up on the white like I was hoping. If he takes my bishop now, I just take back with the queen. And see, now I'm going to be able to bring a knight right up into this square. Okay, I'm going to kick this knight out first. Once again, you guys all know if you watch my channel that I'm constantly kicking things out, and I think this will be good to kick him out. I just saw a couple of things as I was planning here. Because look at this. I can take this, and that gives like a lot of threats. The biggest threat is right here because look at this, forking his king and his queen with the knight. And we got to resign. Look at the brainwaves in sync, kind of spread out up high. Now we're probably going to see a kind of a downtrending because they were really keyed up and now they've got to recover. They're just going to recover a little bit. They're not needed so much. So, and then they went up high again because probably they were doing something great, like, oh, we noticed a pattern, we're doing something good, and they got kind of excited. And then if you just listen to my words and what I'm saying and the points I'm making and watch the brainwaves, it's totally everything is just in perfect correlation, which was, I guess, why 15. I have 59 viewers right now, and they're just spaced out. They're probably sitting on the couch eating munchies or eating munchies and watching. They're mesmerized with the brain waves, and they forget to chat. So if you're watching and you feel like chatting, just jump in on the chat. I mean, you're right there. You saw me chatting with the first time chat earlier about a creator code, which I didn't know what it was, but okay. So let's just look at the analysis board here. If this was a good game without any mistakes, we'll do a postmortem. And because it's always good to learn something with an exemplary game when the game doesn't have mistakes. Oh, okay, yes. And you can see my brainwave synchronizing, going up, 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 because I love seeing that. If you look over here, I played this entire game. How many moves were there? Well, only 17 moves. That's not too many, but in 17 moves, 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, 2 what are called inaccuracies. I actually like inaccuracies in a way because when you're playing very, let's say, correctly and strongly, you're kind of like doing the obvious moves that probably the person's expecting. Not always. Sometimes there's some very good um, strong moves that are not at all expected or obvious, but very often you're playing, precisely, and it's kind of predictable. But when you do some edgy moves, they're called inaccuracies. They're not really mistakes, but they're inaccuracies. And then it kind of sets your opponent off balance sometimes. So you can look at the graph. When you see a graph like this is how chess is really supposed to look. It's not supposed to be going way up and down because that's all blunders and mistakes. But when both players are playing well, it stays here, and one player gets a little bit of an advantage as white was getting more and more and more advantage, and then white didn't capitalize, came back down. Black started getting an advantage until right there was a blunder, and after that, and then he resigned. So let's go. Let's click through it because this is an exemplary game. Okay, you could play this game even with inaccuracies. Like I was saying, inaccuracies are not even bad in the opening. That's no problem. I think the King's Gambit, according to Stockfish, is an inaccuracy. So, and that's a perfectly good opening. As long as you study a little bit and kind of know what you're doing, it's a perfectly good opening for playing like we're playing here, 5-minute chess. You'd have to be a real master, I think, to dominate the board so well that you just are in total control. Well, he played the King Gambit, so now I'm going to win because, that's an inferior opening, and I'll just capitalize and win in the next 5 minutes. Um, it's not quite like that. Yeah, King's Gambit is a sharp opening, it gives you a lot of attacking possibilities, and it's great for a 5-minute game. So let's see what opening he played. He played. If I was playing that, I might actually call that a King's Gambit because it's kind of like you're moving the King's Gambit pawn up before you got the other pawn up. It's like a premature King's Gambit, I guess they call that. There is a name for that. I think it's Bird's Opening or something like that. You don't see this very often. I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what that is because you really don't see it too much, but it's not. It's probably very tricky, and I probably just got lucky not to avoid all the tricks and traps of that. But you can see this is a kind of looks like a safe and solid structure. Right up here tells you how we're doing. It's 0-0, meaning nobody's got an advantage. So yeah, um, he's got a pretty nice structure in the center. He's got this bishop posted off on the side, but slicing through the center. He's got the knight here. He's got this bishop with a number of lines. But I also have a really good controlling center with these pawns. I've got the knight and the bishop. I've got lots of possibilities for development. So we're both doing fine. Um, he took me there. Now that was probably one of my inaccuracies. Yeah, right there. You see, if I click here, that was my one of my inaccuracies was right there. According to that, I should have brought that knight out. But he took me, and I took there, and to me, that's not a bad pawn position because they're there. They're situated very close to the center. If anything, I got some space over here for my rook. Again, in a 5-minute game, I wouldn't mind having my pawns in that position. You have to be careful because they are open to attack, like this one's open, but I protected him here with the bishop. And when I did that, you'll remember I was thinking about advancing these pawns because I mentioned that they look like they're fluid, and my idea was to advance these pawns. In fact, before I moved there, because I was thinking maybe move here, because then if he takes, I take with the queen and everything's fine. And I was thinking, okay, if I come over here, there's a possibility that I'm going to have this line. And I don't know if it was just a lucky guess or if it was prescience, but you remember in the game, that's that's what happened. The bit in just 17 moves. I mean, this is move 9. 8 more moves later, um, this was completely opened up. I had the queen here too, and got the checkmate. So first I castled because with the king in the center, it's not safe. Okay, I got the queen off the back row, and my idea here is to bring the knight back, bring the pawn up, to kick the knight out because I'm thinking that I'll get some counterplay, and that's what happened. I know I moved that pawn up. I guess that was my other inaccuracy, a big inaccuracy. But again, inaccuracies are never very big. That's an edgy move, and I did that because I saw some possibilities. One of the main possibilities I mentioned during the game is that I can take the knight and win a pawn because he's no longer protected by the bishop and the pawn. He's just, when I move this pawn up, protected by this pawn. The knight is only protected by this pawn. So if he doesn't react correctly, I take the knight, and then when he takes with the pawn, I take here without any serious problems, and I win a pawn. So let's see how he reacted. Okay, he took there, and then I took. And you can see white is up 1.1 right now. And this, I think, was the highest he got on the graph. Well, he was a little bit higher here. But now he starts to drop because I suddenly start to get some positional advantages because of the bishop. Um, he came up there, and now we're down to 0. And it's interesting. I did the right move according to Stockfish. I was making a few inaccuracies and probably not really extremely strong moves, but I think this is a strong move now to open the white thing up very close down to the king. Um, and Stockfish is also flashing here a little bit to move this pawn up. So I move the pawn up. It's still 0-0, but it's getting edgy. I can't bring the queen up in here because the knight's here. So that's what I was thinking about. I got to get the knight out of there. So that's why I brought this knight up into here for a couple of reasons. First, it allows me to kick the knight out here so I can bring the queen up. And the other thing it allows me to do is I've got this really, he's got this square completely open here. It's protected by these pawns, and you know, he's got the knight here. He could retake with the knight, but it gives some options. With this knight here, and he can't really attack it. If this knight moves, then the knight just comes right up in there. This is a strong knight just because of the possibility of perhaps coming here. Not necessarily next move because he'll just take it and my pawn here would be weak. But at some point, this knight is threatening to come up here if this knight moves. So he brought the queen out. And right here, I kicked the knight out according to plan because I want to kick the knight out in order to bring the queen up. The knight went over there, and that was a completely wrong move. Look at the double question mark, and suddenly it went down to 4.7. It was a completely wrong move for a number of reasons. Instead of doing this, this would be a really weak move. I don't think I'd gain anything at all. But this move with the knight gains a lot because I get a pawn. If he retakes with the rook, I retake with the knight. So I got a rook and a pawn, which is 6 points, trading for 3 points. I mean, these are just relative points. It depends on the position and everything, but usually a knight is worth about 3, a rook is worth about 5, and pawns are worth about 1. So just as a rule of thumb. So by taking the pawn, he takes me, I take him, I get 6 points against 3, and I'm getting a check on, I call that a check, but it's not a check, it's an attack on his queen with my bishop, who's protected by the queen. So when he moved up here, he opens himself up to that very vicious knight move. And the knight is also threatening to come up here. He needs to, I mean, right now the knight can do some pretty, the knight has a lot of possibilities. Even if he protects this white square with a rook, I still come up here check and win the queen because, let's just imagine the rook comes over here. I move the knight up, that's check. He takes with the rook to get me out of check, and then I take his queen. So it wouldn't have been like this attack through the knight against the queen is just so strong. I don't know what he can do here. Let's see what he did. But he's got to look out for this fork, and he's down 7.1. It says when I move this around a little bit, you can see the arrow here. It's Stockfish is saying to move the queen back here because that would help a lot because if he moves the queen back there, um, I can't win the queen. He gets the queen out of this line. I put him in check, and then he could just take me with the queen. So I lose that possibility. So let's see what he really did. Okay, he took there with the knight. What was there? Yeah, my bishop. So he figures, well, this bishop is really menacing me. I'll just take the bishop, stop that menacing bishop from menacing my queen. But the knight is also menacing because his king and his queen are on the same color and they're one move away from being attacked by the knight. And black wins and white has to resign. So I hope you enjoyed that game. I was hoping to get a little bit more chat here tonight. I'm glad I'm doing a public service. I got a bunch of people munching out, 61 in fact right now, sitting there munching out, mesmerized by brainwaves, watching the brainwaves, zoning out, and I love that. I'm glad you're here. You're my viewers, and I love you for that. But hopefully, we'll get some people here soon. Maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Twitch um, later, and I have a lot of people who come to watch my videos when I'm not streaming. So if you're one of those people, just go ahead right now. Be my follower. I always need followers. I really appreciate that, and you get the advantage because when you're my follower, you get an email as soon as I go online, Twitch will send you an email. SteinItch is online. You see that, you say, I can head on over there. He's going to be given. He's going to have the brainwaves. He's going to be given some instruction and chatting about some things, and everybody else will be zoning out. I'm going to jump in on the chat, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, and that'll be great. I hope you do that. So think about doing that, and we'll see you next time. Take care. As Lawrence Welk always used to say, um, good night, sleep tight, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. That's what he said. It means good night. So have a good one. And I'm going to click out here in the stream. Great. Bye bye.